Oh, what's good? What's good? I didn't even know if I was on right now, but I think I am. So let me know in the chat if I am on, and I will be back. Oh no, we're good. We're good. I'm just pulling the stream up, checking everything out. And on this stream here, I'm gonna be teaching you guys how I practice, like as a DJ. My phone is blowing up, but let's just avoid all of that. I just gotta check the stream, get your guys' comments. But I'm gonna teach you guys how I practice scratching, essentially. So I'm gonna go through all of the scratches that I know. I'm actually right now working with a scratch coach, one of the ultimate scratchers, like a 7-time world time DMC champ. One-on-one coaching is one of the best things. Like, it's one of my claim to fame. The way I got so good so quick is I've always had coaches, whether it's been a business coach or a scratch coach or a DJ coach. I pay people so that I go quickly. So what I'm doing, it's my birthday on Friday, so I wanted to give the DJ Connect. You guys have been with me this whole time. I wanted to give you guys the best deal that I've ever done. It'll probably never be this cheap again, but I'm going to be doing personal coaching 1 hour at 50% off. Any of my coaching packages will meet up on Zoom or on Skype or whatever. We're going to get behind the decks. I'm going to give you a little sheet of like what you're doing correctly, what you're doing wrong, and you're going to become a DJ so quickly, your mind will be blown. So I'm doing 50% off all of my coaching packages because you guys have been with me forever. It's my birthday. I just felt like giving back. So shout out. I think we're live here. I've got my stream up. We got 7 people tuned in. Smash that heart if you like this. If you guys like live, let me know. It's one of my favorite things to go live, and I don't do it too often, which is weird. I went more to like creating videos just because that's YouTube. But anyways, so I'm not delaying anyone here. Let's jump right into the scratches. So first things first, it comes down to when you are practicing scratching, we're coming out here to do drills. We're not out here to like freestyle and play around and just have fun. There's a time and a place for that. When you're here like trying to learn how to cut, you have to be doing drills. Like if you were playing basketball, what do you think you would be doing? Like if you were joining the team, the coach is going to be having you doing drills. And what's that guy's name? The coach? Make sure you get a coach. If you want to learn how to cut quick, let me know. I will get you there so quick. 5 sessions. I essentially feel like I've learned 5 years of scratching from this guy in 5 quick little sessions. That's how quick it happens. But anyways, you'll be doing drills. So the first one I'm going to have you guys doing here, because this is what's on my list here, it's the Joe Cooley. And the Joe Cooley is, when you break it down, it's a baby chirp, chirp. So what would that sound like? It would be this here. I'm just pulling it up here. I got a metronome. I'm only going to be using a metronome on this because I don't want to get hit up for copyright or anything like that. And when you're using a metronome, this is something that's going to like really hone your inner pulse, which is something that as a DJ we don't really have because there's music going on everywhere. For any other musician, like a drummer, guitarist, they're all using metronomes, and all that is a click. And then you're just going to add your scratches on top of that. So for this, we're doing babies and chirps. I just want to make sure you guys know what I'm talking about here. So a baby is literally just forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. We're going to do this around, let's just keep everything at like the 100 BPM range. Just so everything's simple. You're always going to want to go slower than faster. Always start slower, work slower, and then work your way up. But anyways, a baby is literally, we're not using the crossfader at all. We're just pushing the record forward, pulling the record back. And if you guys have any questions or anything, just drop them in the comments. Make sure you're smashing that thumbs up, the little heart button, and we're going to get through this whole list of scratches. I got like 10 scratches here that I'm going to teach you guys. So for whoever's staying the whole thing, you're going to get some good content. I promise you that. So that's a baby. You're literally just pushing the record forward and back. And then a chirp is this was made by like Jazzy Jeff way back when. It kind of sounds like a bird chirping. All you're getting is the very start of the sound and the very end of the sound. This is something that you want to work on by itself before you ever practice this combo. Learn the chirp by itself and then attempt this combo. Yo, still mixing. That's what's up. Shout out, my brother. So that's a chirp. You're just getting the start of the sound and the end of the sound. So what we're doing here is called the Joe Cooley. It's a baby, chirp, chirp. So this is it. And then you're going to want to put it over a sample and do this a lot. So I'll do it without the sound, and then we'll do it with the metronome. And that's it at full speed, which like I'm still practicing it. Everybody is always practicing it. I am no pro here. Like I'm working with a coach trying to figure this out. But the way that a coach will like teach you, and like if my hand is incorrect or my hand placement is wrong, he's going to correct that for me, which is like something like that can save you years of time of you struggling. I'm telling you, like what this guy taught me in 5 sessions would have took me 5 years. I'll pay any amount of money to learn things like right now. I don't want to learn the hard way. So that is the Joe Cooley. Let's put it on a beat and we're just going to practice that over and over. You're going to notice that it's very slow. So that's the way that you want to practice things, just so that you're nailing the movements correctly. So I should be able to do this double time pretty simply. So I'm going to show you guys, once you go from like, this is 100 BPM, the next step is like, you're going to want to go all the way up to like 140, 160, 180, and then 200. Eventually you're going to get to 200, but all 200 is 100 double time. So this is what it would sound like double time. And that's how you get better and you just increase and like become a better scratcher, is you just keep upping the tempo. So it's just like, I don't know, whatever you would do. Like if you're running a race, you just want to keep cutting that time down. This is the same thing. You just want to keep upping the BPM. So this is double time. And you can see like immediately that sounds way cooler, like way sicker. And all that is I'm doing the movement correctly. I'm doing the correct scratch at a faster tempo. So that's always your goal, is to get better. But if it's all muddy and it's not correct, you're not doing the correct movements, all you're doing is you're sabotaging yourself. Like it's going to take you so much longer to learn these scratches because you're not actually learning the scratch. You want to drill that scratch in over and over. So next up on the list, we got the military combo. This is like an OG scratch that everyone should know. And the more, like the better that I get with it, it just levels up every other scratch that I have, because you're really focusing on record control on this movement. So the better you get with your record control, you're going to become a sicker scratcher. I actually thought it was different. I thought it was the better you get with the crossfader, but he told me no, like the crossfader is just like you're turning it on or off. Your flavor, like your sound, your specialty is your record control, the way that you can kind of move the record. So you're going to see here with this military, it's just a stab, baby, stab, baby, baby. A stab is just literally just giving it the sound just like a I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I'm going to show you the military again at 100 BPM, just very slow, but I'm going to show you the movement, and then you're going to drill it and just do it over and over and over again. Oh shoot, I didn't know. Can you hear me better now? Is that better? Hopefully that's better. I got some hearts coming out. Let me know if that's better. I was turning up the wrong knob here. And just without the metronome, again, it's a stab, baby, baby. But at the end of the baby, you're cutting the second part off. So that's essentially the movement. That's all you need to worry about. And then you double it on the second part. Cut the sound off. So hopefully you guys got that. I'm sorry about the volume before. And all I was saying, if you guys couldn't hear it, coaching is what's going to get you there. I'm doing a 50% off all of my coaching packages, the biggest deal I've ever done. Coupon code is just birthday if you guys want to get in on that. If not, let's get to the next scratch. Actually, I'll show you the drill of the military combo. Oh, no worries, man. If you guys got comments, always put it in here. So with the crossfader, this is a really good lesson. Like, if you don't know what I'd be doing with that, I would say don't worry about that at all. You need to really practice the baby scratch at this point. You got to start working your record control. With the crossfader, all you're doing is turning the sound on or off. And you need to make sure that it's set to the very furthest cut. Like, you want to make sure that your cut is on, because you want the sound to be, right now there's nothing. If I even just tap it, like, it's like not even registering, it's got full sound on. So when that's happening, when you're moving the record, you want to be cutting. You're literally, it's called cutting, like you're scratching. You're cutting the sound in and out. So now you're like rhythmically cutting the sound on or off. Like, that's the whole idea of scratching. It's a way of just like manipulating the music to kind of make a sound or make a pattern or make something. But when you're really starting, you shouldn't be worrying about the crossfader. You shouldn't be worrying about any of that. If you want to start scratching, it's called the baby scratch. The name, it's in the name, the baby scratch. You start there. Do not progress anywhere until you understand the baby scratch, and you're going to save yourself years. Like, you're going to save yourself years of struggling, because you're at least going to have one part of the pie down. Once you start adding the crossfader and like you don't even know what you're doing, you don't even know what the crossfader does, and you're trying to like mess around with it, you're just building all these bad habits that you got to start unlearning. Like, I have a few issues with the way that I move the crossfader myself. I'm supposed to be pinching it and like holding it. Instead, I'm pushing it with my finger, like I'm flicking it. It's like an advanced movement that I shouldn't be doing, and it's holding me back. So I'm having to like untrain my muscle memory. I'm having to like forget how to hold my hands in a specific way to get that extra speed, to get that boost. But that's only because my coach is like, yo, I can see right now your hand is wrong. Your hand is incorrect. Fix the way that you're holding the fader, and it's going to be so much better. And then when I finally fix that, my speed just like through the roof, like it explodes. It's crazy. But anyways, I got to check the comments again. Hopefully that was a long answer to your question there. Any advice for super slow music like chopped and screwed, 50 to 70? Like, the slower it is, the better. Really just like work on your sound, like making it sound nice, like the control that you have. What are we at here? That's super fast. This is 87. I should be able to like cut on this nice. when it's slower like that, I have time to think. Like I had like time to like, now I'm bringing in this scratch. And something that I heard is like, you got to name it. You got to say the scratch before you actually make it happen. Like back in the day when I was like practicing, if I'll call that practicing, I'd just be moving the record like just crazy, going insane with absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Now I can like name the scratch. Like I want to do the baby into a chirp into this. So if you're naming the scratch, like you know you're doing something. Like if you knew you were going to take a free throw, you can name that. Like this is a movement that you're actually doing, one that you know, then you're getting somewhere. But if you're just wildly moving the record and stuff, you're not going to get anywhere. So really just work on scratches at those tempos. Like if that's your sound tempo, just work on like perfecting scratches there. When you release, well actually my coach told me you don't ever want to release. When you're practicing, at least like when you're beginning, you never want to let go of the record. That is something that I actually had problems with too. I would always like release. I drop the record and try and cut on it, but you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to always have your hand on the record because record control is the most important. I always thought it was the crossfader, like the cuts on the crossfader was important. I'm being told that it's all record control. So never take your fingers off, especially when you're like starting. Anyways, let's keep rolling through. If there's any more questions, always drop them in here. I'm going to answer them. And let me know if you guys like live. I'm a big fan of live, but I haven't been done it in a long, long time. But yeah, so next on the list, we got one-click flares. So this is one he told me on our last session. I need to fix my one-click flares, and that's what I was practicing all yesterday, and now the rest of my scratches have leveled up like 1,000,000%. So it's like these one little tiny pitfalls. He knew that like that's where my holdup was. If I can get that fixed, now the rest of my scratches are going to be way better. So a one-click flare, I will show you guys. Without sound, it's just you're pushing the record forward. So you're just doing a baby, like once I told you guys, learn how to do the baby because all you're doing here is the baby. And then with the crossfader, we're clicking it one time in the center of the sound. So I will show you once again, it's a baby. That's the movement with this hand. Now we're doing a one click. So we're clicking the fader one time off in the middle of the sound. Now I can go that quick. So I'll turn the metronome on really slow. This is the way that you should practice at this really slow pace. Like if you got to do it in one bar, like just doing it in one bar, start there. Go super slow. Like for me now it's hard to go slow, but I should be able to do it slow, right? So this is like an exercise for me as well to train that slow movement, but that's where you want to start and then you bring the speed up. And the same way, you just take this. This is at like 90 BPM now. You're just going to want to work your way up 90, 100, 110, 120. Just keep working your way up. And then you get to double time. And then you start again. Next up on the list, what are we checking out here? The two-chirp flare. Two chirps and then one flare. So it's a two-chirp, one flare combo. This is like your first combo, I guess. And what I used to think back in the day when DJs were freestyling, going nuts, that's what I wanted, and you were just supposed to go crazy, but it's not. They're just combining different scratches. So here we're taking 2 chirps and a flare and putting them together. So we learn the 2 chirps. The chirp is the front of the sound, back of the sound, and then that flare that we just did. And then that's it faster. So let's hit this up. Let's do this one. I should be quick on this. Let's do it at 90 BPM, double time. I'll try and do it slow, single time, and then double time. So that's single time, and that's, you just want to do that over and over and over and over again until you don't make a mistake. That's how you practice things. You drill it over and over and over until you don't make a mistake. Now double time. Not there yet. Not there yet. Super close. I'm probably like 85, but I can't go. All right, we got an 87 here. Let's try 87. Not enough. Not enough. I can do 85 for sure, but I can't. That's it. That's the max I can go down. Check the comments real quick. Find a position of your sample shifts. It would be shifting because you're losing it in your hand. Sometimes it's called cue drift on controllers. But I have the Rev 7 and it's supposed to be the worst for cue drift and it works good. What controller do you have? But a lot of the time it's just like the sample slipping out of your finger. And that just comes with record control. Like the more you can hold the record. If you're sweating, sometimes it'll just kind of slip through as well. But it comes down to like your computer as well. If it's glitching or something, it's losing sync. But to my knowledge, it's mainly it's just record control. Next up, we got the chirp, flare, flare. So it's just like a different variation of that last combo. Same movements, chirp, flare, flare. So it sounds like this. So the exact same movements. We just did the flare. We did the 1-click flare. We did the 2 chirp, 1 flare. Still the same move, but because it's a different combo, like you're taking the exact same notes, putting them in a different combo, and now you have something that sounds completely different, even though you already know how to do those. So if you sit there drilling the chirp and you learn how to chirp, and then you drill the 1-click flare, now you've just unlocked like 5 different scratches all at once, but you need to be able to drill these movements, right? That's about my top. So let's try this out. I'll do it slow, and then I'll try and do it fast again, but 87, it's probably out of my realm. I was trying to add a little bit of pitch variation in there. So that's now you're doing the same pattern, the exact same pattern, but if you do it like at a slower pitch, now it sounds different. And this is where that whole record control thing comes in. Like this is where he kind of showed me, like when you're able to change your pitch on a dime, like one is way high and then one is low. Mine is sloppy. Mine is not as nice as his was. But when you can do that, now you have like you're essentially a singer in like different octaves. You can like go fast, pitch it up, drop down, and now you're able to like kind of like sing with your cut. So that's the whole idea. You want to be able to not only do the scratch itself, you want to be able to variate the pitch as well. But essentially, you saw I was just drilling that combo over and over and over again. You just want to be able to do it until you have no mistakes. Yeah, like I'll show you my I used to do transformers with releasing, and that's where he saw right away. He was like, "Bro, you can't do that. You got to hold the record." Like it sounds dope, but it's kind of like a cheat because you're not supposed to let it go. You want to be able to do that with your hand. So I'm gonna try and do it with my hand. I probably can't even do it. Yeah, like I can kind of do it, but I'm also kind of cheating, letting it take it. But it's all a learning thing. Like it all comes down to how much record control you have and just building that record control forever. What else we got on here? The chirp, two click. Then we got scoops. These are, he showed me this new combo this last time that it's so sick, but this is one that I avoided forever. Like I just didn't like doing it because I wasn't good at it. So he finally was like, bro, you got to work on this because this is what you can do with it. When he showed me what you can do, it's so funky and so sick. But a scoop is you're pushing the record like slow and then finishing it off. So you're kind of like flicking it. And I guess that's what it is. Like you're scooping the sound. So this is what it sounds like. So one thing that as soon as I got on here, totally unrelated because that's how my brain works. You guys need like a spreadsheet. Like I know what I need to come and start working on and practicing because I have something in front of me. I have a way to track it. Like if I was just coming out here every day like I used to, just hop behind the decks and start freestyling, you're gonna get nowhere. You need to have like a lesson plan. You need to know what you're working on, and then you need to drill it. That's the only way people get good at things. And that's why having a coach is really important. So if anyone needs coaching, I'm doing one-on-one coaching, 50% off for the next, it's just until Tuesday till I get back from my trip. Birthday is the coupon code on the website. Take advantage of it. Probably never happen again. But yeah, that's the scoops. I'm not even going to attempt the new combo, but by next week, I have to have it done because I have to go show up to him again. I have to show up to my coach, and I got to say, hey, this is what I worked on. Or I got to say, hey, I didn't work on anything, and I got nowhere, and now I'm just wasting my own money. So that's another reason why it's so important. Like, I have to show up to him. If I don't do my work, if I don't practice on my end, I'm going to show up like an idiot who just wasted a bunch of money. So it's really, really important. I can't stress this enough, especially if you want to make this happen. Like this, I only started scratching at the start of COVID and only with a coach like 2 months ago. And my skill has went like this. So that's all I can say about that. Next up, Seesaw. I like this one. Seesaw is dope. Its name is Seesaw, so you're pushing it forward, you're babying. Again, you're baby forward, and then you're turning the sound off, but then you're going to the top, so you're pushing through it, and then you're just doing it in reverse. So you're doing this one way and then the other way. But really, like you're just doing it the same thing. You don't move your hand at all. You're just babying forever, and then you're cutting the sound on the up, and then you're cutting it on the back. And then that's it. I'll show you guys what it sounds like, what it looks like. You're pushing it forward, getting that baby. And that's it. Then you're cutting the sound off. So you're pushing it forward, but then hold your record. You don't move it anywhere. I keep moving it because muscle memory. So it stays there. Now you're going to push it forward, and then you're going to open it again. So all that time it's off. Now you're at the back of the sample. So you're within this one, you're working inside of the sample. This was something that was a little difficult for me to comprehend because the sound is on. But all you're doing, you're turning it on here and babying again from the middle of the sample. Turning it off and back. And that's it. And if you guys are looking at my fingers, this is one that I have the difficulty with. Like, this is something that I keep going back to my old habits where there's a way to do it way easier, but I can't do it because I have bad habits. Like, I have ways that I train myself to do it back in the day that are completely wrong, that now I have to unlearn the way my hand works, which is, it's terrible to have to go back and do that. But I do, because if I want to make it happen, that's what you got to do. So now I'm going to show you the variation that this guy gave me. He gave me the scoops with, where is it at? Or sorry, the Seesaw. You can do it with a chirp and chirp and a stab. So I'm going to do it with both of them. And this is one where you can, he said, this is a way that you can move from open fader to close fader. To me, he's talking nonsense, so I would assume to you as well. But I'm not there yet. But this is like a special movement that you need in your arsenal. So you may as well build it now. So that's the original. Now this is the variation. Let's put on the beat. And you just do it over and over and over again until you master it. Like you heard in there, I did one mistake. Because I did one mistake, if you're anything like Michael Jordan or like Stephen Curry, you're going to sit there until you dump 7,000 like free throws or three-pointers. You're going to do it over and over until you don't make that mistake. And that's how people become great at stuff. You don't practice it for one day and then quit and then come back like 2 years later and think that, oh, you know what, maybe I'm better right now. It doesn't work like that. Like I come, scratch, I try for 2 hours a day, like because I want it bad. And if you want it as well, like you have to put the time in. They say like to master a skill, you got to do 10,000 hours. So you have to stand here for 10,000 hours. If you're not willing to put that time in, you're not going to get there. Message retracted, but I'm always here, man. If you guys got questions, drop them in the chat. Sorry, I just got to, sometimes I got to say it while it's in my mind or I go on a tangent. Smash that heart button if you love this kind of content. If not, I'm just going to keep going down this list here because I have to practice. So I figured I was already stressing about making videos this week. I may as well just make a live, chill out with you guys and show you guys how I practice. Like this is the way that I would be practicing right now by myself. Next up, we got drumming on the ups. I'll show you guys this one because a lot of you guys might know it, but it's one that like it wasn't important, so I kind of stopped practicing it. You guys might know it. It's you get like a little loop here. So you get this like tiny little loop, and this is you've seen a lot of guys online do this. I'll show you. Basically, all you're doing is moving up fader and like bouncing it off your fingers here. Yeah, it's one I wanted to learn it at the start, and then I saw how like useless it was, so I stopped practicing it. But essentially, if you guys want to learn that one, you're bringing the up fader with your thumb, and then taking it back with your index finger and then just swapping it. So you're just trading it with your finger, and then you gotta like avoid catching your finger. You'll figure it out. It's really easy, but to get really good at it, you gotta go like lightning fast, and I don't have the patience to learn that right now. Anyways, maybe in the future. Now we're into the 2-click flares. Like we're almost done the list. I finished off a bunch of other stuff. I had a much bigger list, and I finished them all off. If you guys want to learn about that, you're gonna have to join the DJ Connect, the DJConnect.com. I got a course. Scratch course is coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, now we're at 2-click flares. So we learned the 1-click flare. Now we're just doing 2-click flares. So we're adding in a second click. I'm just gonna check the chat. Oh yeah. If you guys got questions, always drop it in the chat. So anyways, 2-click flare, we did the 1-click flare. 2-click, we're just literally adding in a second click. So I'll show you it. And as before, like the flare is a baby scratch. With this hand, all it is a baby scratch. So if you're learning how to scratch, you don't know how, work on the baby scratch. The baby scratch is the foundation of everything. Learn the baby scratch first, and then start worrying about other stuff. I promise you, you're going to save years of struggling and probably quitting because it's too difficult. So I'm going to try and do this slow for you guys because I'm sure you guys are getting a little brain lost there when you go quick because you're turning 2 movements into 3 sounds. The 1-click flare is actually the fastest movement that anyone can do because you're turning 1 sound into 2, and then it goes 2 to 3, 3 to 4. But the original 1-click flare is the fastest movement you can do because you're turning 1 sound into 2 sounds. So this is just the next level, the 2-click flare. Yeah, so I'm going to put it on the beat here. I'm going to do it really slow just so that hopefully that's going to help you guys out. I think the weakest part of my game here is my record control at that speed. Like that's the janky part. It's not my cuts, it's my my record control. It's hard to do it slow when you can do it that fast is the problem. Checking the chat. Right hand is my dominant hand. So this is something big. Like I used to scratch only on this hand on here with my right hand. And that like we had to change that immediately. He said you need to pick a hand and decide. When your right hand is your dominant hand, like you're going to be able to cut. You can do both way better, obviously, with your right hand. Like, that's my dominant hand. But you want your cuts to be way sicker. You want to be able to kill the cuts because this hand is always, like, it's your dumb hand. Like, it should just be doing baby scratches 99% of the time. You're just doing a baby scratch with this and then cutting up that hand. On this side, my record hand is way quicker, like, but I can't do intricate cuts, and it's very boring. Like I can go so fast here, but it's like for what? It's like It reminds me of like Eminem's new rap style. Like why you spitting like that? No one wants to hear you being a ridiculous like that. So when I first got my coach, he told me, he's like, pick a side, and what I heard is like the way more intricate, way more rhythmic, way more nicer sounds. You want to be cutting with your dominant hand. All right, anyways, let's go back. Two-click flare, we did that. And then next up, it's the chirp two-click flare. So same thing. All we're doing here is adding in a combo. So we're just now, we already have the chirp. We know the chirp. We just learned the two-click flare. Now we're just adding the chirp two-click flare. So let's check it out. So once you kind of got the flare down, you're going to be able to, you're just bouncing because it's the same movement with the chirp. It's the same movement. You're bouncing off the cue, like the post, the end of it. That's the movement that you're going to get. It's going to be very natural because they're the same movement. Once you've nailed the chirp, and then once you've nailed that, all it comes down to is just now bouncing the crossfader, which you're going to very naturally learn. It's hard to explain, but just watch my wrist. And that's it. Now you have a combo. And then what's the next one? It is a two-chirp. So you're chirping, chirping, chirp, chirp, double-click flare, double-click flare. Now this is 8 notes. This is an 8-note scratch, so you can literally cut up a whole bar. Like this is now we're getting to the point where you're actually able to like cut. So if you were able to do that, and then you added in like your seesaws, and then you did a Joe Coolie, you got like a 12-bar scratch right here. You can do an actual little scratch routine. All right, so this is it. This is the 2 chirps, double-click flare combo. Sick one. So I'm going to put it on a beat as well. So you'll see there. You see what he was talking about. My flares get a little less flary. Like as you get better, it comes down to endurance after that. Like once you've learned a skill, now you're just drilling it. Like with anything else, like if you gotta learn to become a better like basketball player, you're gonna be doing a lot of running drills and stuff. Like you at that point, you just need more endurance and to get better. So he says you want to be able to nail these scratches for about 30 seconds straight, because you're never gonna cut like. At the club, I'd never be cutting more than 30 seconds ever. Once you got about 30 seconds per cut, you're good. Past that, like nobody's ever cutting like that unless you're at like a DMC finals or something. In the club, like all we need is about 30 seconds of smooth, clean cuts. So after a while, my wrist starts getting tired there, and I start missing my second click. So that's what you need to start looking for. Like once you start doing that, you're now going too fast. So bring the speed down or whatever you got to do. and then just keep working your way up, building more endurance, more muscle memory, figuring it out along the way. Yeah, I would say like that's what he told me. He said pick one side, because that's all we're gonna work on. We're not going back and forth. Once you have it on one side, it's a lot easier to learn it on this side. My chirps on this side are ridiculous because once I kind of adopted, I haven't practiced enough on this side to be fluent. But once I kind of started doing the same movements, fixing my wrist and everything the way he taught me on this side, now these cuts are like they're ridiculous. That's got to be like 200 BPM, like double time, or 100 double time BPM. On this side, I'm not that crazy. I'm getting there. Like they're both kind of getting there, and then once you have it, then it's a lot easier to teach your other side because you've learned it. The hardest part is learning how to learn, and that goes for everything. Like they always just tell us what to know, but no one really like learns how to do something. And like I was the same thing until I got a coach to show me what I was doing wrong. I didn't kind of progress. I was stuck at the same level because I couldn't get any further. I didn't have the knowledge that they had and the ways that I needed to fix what I was doing wrong. Uh yeah, it just comes down to like yeah, if you're left-handed, you might want to cut with this hand. So you would want to be on this side. But yeah, it just kind of comes down to styles. If you want the more intricate cuts, you want your dominant hand on the fader. Um, for this is kind of my dummy hand, so it should be on like my record control, doing not much work. It's doing like the easy job where this one has to think. So whichever way you kind of want to be scratching, if you want to be more rapid, fast, you want to use your dominant hand on the record. But either way, you will learn on both sides. It just kind of comes down to like preference. Apart from that, that's the whole list. He did have some transforms, so I'll show you that. We're basically done with the transforms, but he gave me 3 different transform combos, so I'll show you all of them. It's a 4 transform, so you're clicking 4 times. This is kind of a completely different style of scratch. So this is a close fader scratch. And this is where that whole seesaw thing comes into, where like you can't really jump into this scratch out of nowhere. You either need a break or something to get into it to reposition your hand. So it's closed right now. It's close fader. Crab is also a closed fader scratch, so I can add the crab in, but I can't really, from there, I can't really do like a chirp or something because you just can't. It's already it's too far gone at that point. Yeah, so that was the 4, and then I added a few in there, but he showed me the 4, the 2, and then I'll show you the other variation. And if you noticed, all this hand is doing here is just doing a baby scratch over and over. A transform is you're just clicking the sound on. And that's it, guys. So, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, no more comments. Thank you guys for rocking with me. 50% off coaching. Coupon code is birthday, and it's good until Tuesday. I doubt I'll ever do this again. If you guys want to learn how to scratch, mix, open a business real quick, join right now. I'll teach you guys. Let's go.